Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Politics. I am your host, Bub. Let's get right to it. Nicki Minaj is in the news and has been in the news for about a month or so now, and it seems as though the clamor will not cease. And that clamor revolves around Nicki Minaj's antics. Um, she's come out in support of not only MAGA, but Donald Trump. She professes to be Donald Trump's number one fan. In fact, she has made the circuit or is making the circuit on mega type shows and platforms, speaking out against a lot of what she didn't speak out about previously, that in fact she was probably in support of. A lot of people are asking, okay, what's going on with Nicki Minaj? I think, though, that it's quite apparent. It should be apparent what is happening with Nicki Minaj. I think she's in a panic. She's in a panic. Her anxiety in regards to what is taking place with ICE, Border Patrol, Department of Homeland Security at the direction of Donald Trump, rounding up immigrants, detaining them, and deporting them back to where they came from. Nicki Minaj, as it should be known, maybe it is not a naturalized American citizen. She immigrated here from Trinidad. She's been here maybe 35 years. Now, if that's the case, my question, the one I would pose is, if you've been here 35 years, you've been a rap star slash pop star, one of few rap stars who have been able to cross over into the pop genre with loads of money. Why did you not 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, apply for naturalization or citizenship here in these United States? She chose, rather than to just, be here, have a career here under her permanent work status. So I guess she thought that was good enough for her. She didn't smell the coffee a few years back when Donald Trump started his rhetoric about deporting all the illegal aliens. That right there would have been a cue for me. I would have said, okay, let me get ahead of this curve. And I would have went and did my due diligence. She did not do that. Instead, she's in fear of getting caught up in this rapture that we see taking place all over America, where illegal as well as legal immigrants are being detained and deported. Again, to some respect or to some aspect, I can understand her fear. But again, I can't excuse her for not taking care of this matter decades ago. Okay. To give us better clarity or more clarity on this issue, I'm going to involve a clip. And hopefully this clip will shine a little more light on this ongoing saga with Nicki Minaj.
I hope you're doing well. And we have to discuss yet another sign of our current society's downfall. That is the recent right-wing rabbit hole descent of one Nicki Minaj. Something we have talked about on this channel before, but I will say, at the point that we last discussed this topic, there was maybe possibly a snowball's chance in hell of Nicki writing course, having a change of heart, waking up from whatever haze she is in and coming to her senses, which she seemingly at one point had. But now it just kind of seems like that's not happening. That's never going to happen.
That boat has sailed, obviously. Again, she seemed to have been lost. For one, she believed, or she thought, that the gold card that Trump officials had handed her was her license, or her permanent status. She thought it provided her citizenship. Come to find out, or she came to find out, that she had been duped. I wonder what that did to her psyche.
That is just completely done. We have crossed the Rubicon, and Nicki has officially made the change from rap pop superstar, legendary musical cultural icon, to unabashed right-wing grifter. And here's how it happened, essentially. Like I said, weeks ago on this channel, we talked about Nicki Minaj making recent appearances with Erica Kirk, paying an insane amount of lip service to the right. But even after as crazy as that whole occurrence was, I don't think anybody could have foreseen the media blitz that she went under over the last 5 days, because Nicki showed up in person on stage with Donald Trump.
The greatest and most successful female rapper in history, Nicki Minaj. Come on. And Nicki makes a lot of cash. Not as much as Michael Dell. Not quite. Not as much. But that's okay.
Nicki literally said on stage that Donald Trump, she's his #1 fan, and that's probably not going to change anytime soon.
I am probably the president's #1 fan.
Actually, this is kind of sad. And also, I think it adds to the narrative that when a lot of our people find themselves in that limelight, they will go to any length to stay in it. And I think she's a prime example of that. You know, they tend to lose their way. You know, I think that's just the atmosphere that may be, you know, what that entails when you reach certain levels in society, or when you reach certain levels in terms of money and publicity, you know, celebrity. You know, it happens. It happens. For the most part, we see a lot of these so-called entertainers spiraling out of control. The more money they have, it seems to bring about more problems.
And that's not going to change. And the hate, or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let.
That's the thing also about a lot of us, especially when we realize we messed up, or, you know, we were duped, we were played, or whatever the case may be. Some of us don't have the wherewithal, the presence of mind to say, okay, man, I'll take that one on the chin. Let me back all the way up. Instead, a lot of us say, oh, what the hell? I'm going all in now. It's no sense or no reason for me to turn back now, you know? And I think that what makes that really bad is that they don't believe that, you know, that they're really a part of that system or that program. There's no way they can really think that they're in like that. You know, so it's just a, you know, a matter of saying, all right, you know, all right, I'm gonna just ride it out. And I think that's what Nicki Minaj is doing.
Let them get away with bullying him and, you know, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work. Okay.
She does her little podium speech, leaves the exchange, does some posts on social media, shows off that she got this weird ass Trump gold card, and does a little vague posting gesturing toward the idea that this interaction, the support that she is giving the Trump administration.
It says residency question mark. Cope is coping, finalizing that citizenship paperwork as we speak, as per my wonderful, gracious, charming president. Thanks to the petition. I wouldn't have done it without you. Oh, Citizen Nika, you are the moment. Gold Trump card, free of charge. At least that's what she thought.
Might have something to do with her immigrant status and her desire to be a fully legal citizen in this country. And look, this appearance, this interaction for Nicki optically was bad enough. You have Nicki on camera hugging up on Mike Johnson like they're old friends or something. You have this weird ass photo of Nicki holding Trump's hand where very clearly you could see that weird foundation they've been putting on Trump's hand as of late because of the odd discoloration that have many wondering about the status of his health. And again, this Nicki GOP promotion, it's very much a cross-pollination, as we've seen the official GOP Twitter account posting MAGA Minaj photos, the White House posting saying that she's a super based. Jesus Christ, we live in the clown timeline. But this is not the only promotion of the Trump brand Nicki has been doing over the past few days, because she also showed up for the Melania documentary film premiere, a movie that I'm sure is lacking some interesting details related to Epstein that have recently come to light in this new 3 million document drop. Yeah, they're probably not covering that part of her life story. But yeah, here's Nicki at this goddamn premiere looking like a damn fool. So again, as I said at the start of this video, the Nicki Minaj Republican MAGA transformation is like fully complete. And look no further than Nicki's Twitter account for evidence of this, because not only is she attacking the sexuality of figures like Don Lemon and Trevor Noah.
You called for Don Lemon's arrest over his church stunt in Minneapolis. He's since called you racist, unhinged, homophobic, and out of your depth.
Unhinged for sure. Unhinged for sure.
Anything you'd like to say to Don Lemon?
Cocksucker, stop.
It's not just what you do for your heart, it's how you talk to it. Yes, honey, you are powerful. Cheerios, made with whole grain oats and a whole lot of heart.
She's also been pushing out ridiculous right-wing talking points, questioning why the Democrats always have the gay vote. Look, I'm not going to get into every single thing Nicki has posted to Twitter over the last 48 hours because I don't want you to sustain too much psychic damage from this video. I don't want Austin to sustain too much psychic damage from this video too. And also there are elements of Nicki's downfall here that have been covered much better by other voices who obviously very much align with her core fan base in terms of looking up to her and what she at one time represented in a certain way. What I want to add to this conversation is how I would like people to sort of like see and interpret Nicki Minaj going forward, because yes, there is a lot of valid conversation around how hurtful and shocking and disappointing and heartbreaking and crazy and unhinged Nicki's recent behavior has been.
Again, I think though what brought this about, her unhinging, her going to bat for Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, is the fact that these issues surrounding immigration aren't clear. You know, the talk started out those illegal aliens who were criminal, rapists, murderers, so forth and so on. It has evolved into immigrants, period. You know, I think that's what started her downward spiral, but she probably doesn't look at it like that because she's looking at it in the terms of survival. Nicki wants to survive, but she wants to do it here in the United States. And she's going about it in her mind, the only way she sees fit.
Having watched this very thing happen many times over for the last decade with various figures in content creation and entertainment, what Nicki is doing here is nothing short of an open grift. She is repeatedly tweeting out and posting up right-wing talking points, which have not only been very carefully crafted and suggested to her, but have been getting posted by others in the right-wing propaganda media network for years. Like, nothing she's proposing or arguing for here is new by any stretch of the imagination as far as right-wing philosophy is concerned. Not only that, but please take into account that all of these recent media appearances that she's been doing on behalf of the right and Trump and so on and so forth, Nicki is not showing up to any of this shit for fun or out of the goodness of her heart.
Right. Again, she's serious. She's serious because her mind tells her she has to be. Nicki is in fear of ICE, Border Patrol, coming to her door and telling her it's time to go. Nicki is attempting to survive, under the pressure of this system of what's going on in terms of the immigration policy issue,
especially when it comes to organizations like TPUSA. You are getting paid for showing up to those types of events. Like, the whole brand is finding right-wing media figures and various talking heads who are willing to pop on a stage somewhere and basically pay lip service to the organization and the ideology they push. So there's no way in hell Nicki is doing any of this for free, especially given how carefully planned and consistent the propaganda has been over the last several days. And look, as much as a lot of Nicki's fan base has basically turned its back on her for the last week plus, and given the recent shots thrown toward Nicki Minaj by
another point perfectly made by Furtado, her base has decreased significantly. As a result of her actions, Nicki has, I think, in my opinion, ruined her career. You know, her career. I wouldn't be surprised if we next see Nicki involving herself. I mean, really involving herself in right-wing politics. Her music career is over, basically.
Trevor Noah at the Grammy Awards ceremony that sort of seemed like the audience there got a big laugh out of. Yeah, it does seem like a fair amount of people are kind of seeing through the BS and not taking what Nicki is doing here seriously. But there is a considerable amount of her very sycophantic fan base that are completely down for this craziness and are eating up every word and have been super quick to, you know, jump on stories about Don Lemon getting arrested unlawfully for covering a protest, saying that his arrest in LA was Nicki voodoo, which, like, I'm sorry, Don Lemon getting arrested because the government is turning fash has nothing to do with him criticizing Nicki going down a far right rabbit hole. Well, given Nicki is being paid to go far right, there is a connection there. But
all right, we're gonna let that go right now. I found that to be very interesting. That, you know, that piece by Furtado. Nicki Minaj, you like. I think this should go for anyone. You would like for people to be okay. You know, you would like for them to find their way, be well, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Though we want these things for some people do not necessarily seek those things for themselves. Nicki was already, if you ask me, in a certain space that just actually made it easier for her to go down this route or this path, you know? So my thoughts, you know, or I send my thoughts out to Nicki Minaj. You know, I don't agree with a lot of what she does or what she's been doing. I'm not a fan. I don't listen to the music, but when you see this type of behavior, when you see, you know, your people going out like this, it should touch you. It should give you pause to think, what's going on with us? This is All Things Politics. We appreciate your presence and your viewership. Take care of yourself and each other.